Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Prosper Nutrition Show. We are going to be touching on an important topic, and this is a topic that we have a lot of clients talking to us about. This is surviving the chaos, making healthy changes in a toxic environment. It's difficult. So we're going to be diving into this topic, and we've got a friend with us, a licensed professional counselor, Michael Morris. He's going to be joining us and giving us some insights and experience that he has. But welcome to the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we want you to prosper and be in health. My name is Jason Steves. I'm a clinical account specialist with Perk Integrative Health, and I'm joined by my co-host Steve Steves, who is a clinical nutritionist and naturopath. And as I mentioned, we have a guest who's a licensed professional counselor, Michael Morris. So how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. Just because Michael's here. I'm getting my therapy. He's really a blessing.
Yes. Well, and I wanted to share this real quick. Michael, you were very instrumental in my life at a certain season where I was going through a difficulty, marriage ending, and so I wanted to share that because, the information that you share with people about getting counsel, about, mental, emotional health, it was really helpful for me during that season, and helped me kind of learn some tools that even now I've been able to, continue to incorporate and help me handle certain challenges. And so I wanted to share that and thank you for that, and let everybody know that stick around, and because he's got some good pearls and wisdom that he's going to be able to share with you on this topic. So thank you, Michael.
Honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Steve, how long have you known Michael now? It's been a while, right?
I met him in 2002 in the sauna at the YMCA. He was doing a workout in the sauna and sweating bullets. He was, and just broke up conversation and asked him what he did. He said he was a behavioral specialist and he specialized in weekend seminars. And at that time, he was a pastor. And but he's been involved in pastoral counseling for years. So when he went back to where he's living in Charleston, South Carolina, his pastoral counseling continued, but then he went to a new level to go to be a licensed professional counselor. And he really has a passion for people to connect the mental, emotional, and spiritual. And he'll share more of that with us. He was the key reason that I went back to school in 2018 at Liberty University seeking a biblical theology degree, and have loved that education process. It's just exciting to grow in knowledge and understanding, because that's why we're here. We want to impart what we've learned. And we're thankful to have Michael today to share with us on mental, emotional health and some things that you can do to make your journey of health quite a bit better.
Yes. Yeah, it's a difficult world, and making healthy choices is not easy. So tell me, Michael, if you could give us some feedback about your early experiences with Steve and how that relationship developed from your point.
I was interested in not only there in the spa, but just find out more about his life and connecting as a friend, and found out he was a fellow believer, and just to be able to process his life and getting him to know him and his bride, your mama, Amy, and just it was such a neat experience. And I, at the time, he was asking me about how I was doing physically, and he talked about his work, and I became very intrigued and interested in it. And so I started meeting with him, and just from there, I call him my doctor. He takes care of me. I come out to visit at least once a year, and he pours into me physically to get my body stronger and healthier. And I try to pour into him spiritually and now mentally, emotionally, with the component with the counseling. So yeah, it's just been a sweet relationship. I have a lot of respect and love for him, and he's helped so many people, and cannot thank him enough for us personally. My family as well feel the same. But just the opportunity of just seeing God do a work in him, and even you, and what God's doing with you through the whole thing, with even being here today, sharing with a very vital, very critical time that we're in right now in our society and our country. the need for people recognizing that when they're stuck, they sometimes will make unhealthy decisions, and the influence of, as you said, the toxic community they live in, or even toxic relationships that
Right.
plays a part as well. So yeah, but yeah, it's been
Yeah,
great.
thank you. Yeah, and
You're welcome.
that is the question that, you know, a lot of people are thinking, like, what are we talking about? Chaos, toxic environment. And, you know, there's multiple ways we can look at it, right? We obviously, with nutrition, we talk about, you know, the toxins as far as chemicals in our environment and other things like that. But as we're also experiencing too, there's all this toxic, you know, information that we're getting overloaded by so much information, and so that is a difficult thing. And we see clients coming in and they're wanting to make healthy choices with their body, but they're having a hard time because they've got all this information that they're confused about, and maybe they don't have a supporting spouse, or they don't have family members or a community that's supporting them. So, Michael, what would you like if someone came to you and they're like, I'm trying to make healthy choices, but I've got my spouse is not supporting me, or I don't have a good, you know, community to help me. How would you kind of get started in, you know, helping them in that direction?
Yeah, I want to find out the even more what's going on with him, because the scenario many times is what's causing that unhealthiness. And many times if you look at the perspective that it could be everything from where they were in a family of origin that was unhealthy growing up, so that impacted them. And then so they put that as a, so to speak, place that they go to when they make a decision, usually unconsciously. But then as they seek in that relationship, sometimes because of they're not healthy, they even react more than they respond. And so they're part of the issue, and to be able to process. So I really hone in on developing, see where they are, try to find out if there is anxiety, if there's depression. I mean, if there's even trauma. I see a lot of clients that deal with trauma, and that trauma they experienced, like I said, when they were younger, or what they're experiencing right now. Even the grief, the loss of the relationship, that's a big deal too. And of course, I do also a lot of marriage therapy. I sit with couples that are processing them together, causing them what I simply say they're stuck. They're coming to us because they're stuck in their situation, and they want to do something about it, which takes a lot of courage. A lot of courage for people to step up, even to come see you all and looking for that help, because, you know, pride, I can fix myself, especially men. Men are really notorious about it, but women have it too. So the willingness to step back and help them with those issues, meeting them where they are. And I use an integrated approach. I bring Christianity and psychology into it. Of course, we get permission, being the ethical perspective, that the client will feel good about that. So we meet them again where they are. And so we partner with the Lord as we're processing that with them, and help them again see that there is always hope, no matter what they're going through, that there's opportunities. There's some really good tools that can help, really resources that can help them overcome that. And it really boils down to simply this: that I can be healed of whatever I deal with personally that can make me, because I look here first. I've got to look at me first before I can look at those relationships. So as I look at that and see where I can get, and when you get to that place and helping people to become free and who God's called them to be, there's nothing sweeter. I mean, it's just a really, I get a chill even telling you about it, to see that happen. And the flow in that, and then they can look even at those toxic relationships through a different lens. I mean, I could sit here and tell you so many stories where that's happened, and God orchestrated even a healthy reconnection, which is important too. So again, it's just it's a journey, it's a process, but it's so neat that, and I'll say this too: we're in a time right now where mental health and emotional health is really bubbling to the top. One of the reasons why we started a counseling center at our place is because a lot of the people in our area that we've had relationships with in the faith-based community of counseling were either not taking new clients, or they were on a waiting list that were going to be months. So it's real what's happening here. And we see a lot of people. We've been open a year, and just to see the number of people come through our doors. I mean, we started with three therapists. Now we're 11. I mean, it's just amazing what God has orchestrated, and to see it, because they're looking for help and they're getting it. And that's what's exciting. They're getting it. And here's the heart of it: they're making a choice to choose to do their part. When you get to that, oh my goodness, for you guys, with what you all do and what I'm doing, can't even put into words. I could keep going, but that's where we are.
I appreciate that. And I think that's, you know, what you're saying is trying to help people see that if they really get a better understanding of what's going on with them,
Right,
they're able to come to the environment that they're in with better perspective, more understanding, maybe more of a strength to handle and deal with those things.
yeah, if they feel good about themselves. I even asked this question, can you look in the mirror tonight? Do you like what you see? And I'm not just talking about your color of your hair or the poundage, but it begins, and I'll go here with it. Can you answer the question? You have a complete confidence that God loves you. Is there any doubt whatsoever? And to be able to understand that, but then take it a step further, does Steve and Jason love Steve and Jason? In other words, you love yourself, not out of pride, not arrogancy, because that love that God's given you, He enables you to love yourself. Now, watch this. When you love yourself, then you have that confidence, that identity is strengthened. And that's a big thing right now. The identity is huge as well. Then I can love those in my relationship. I can love others because I have a confidence, I have a peace I'm moving forth with, just a joy of wanting to make a difference in others' lives because I feel good about me. It's huge. I mean, I'm telling you, people don't feel good about themselves at times, and it's very hard.
That is. Yeah. Well, and Steve, on that note, I think is on the nutritional side, one of the things that you often teach about is helping people understand the physiological neurotransmitter side. What have you noticed when people are challenged with that? Like what Michael's saying, like they're having a trouble, being thankful for what God's given them in themselves, having that love for themselves, like an anxiety about, themselves and the way they are. How do you address that with people that come in and, nutritionally?
That's a good question to ask because what they experience emotionally, they would say, I can't take it anymore. I'm burned out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm burned out in handling this marriage, or I'm burned out in dealing with this relationship at work. Or so what manifests is a burnout in their body systems, because as they're handling those emotional problems, their body goes with it because they tend to neglect the body. They don't see the value behind it. And I've been through so many pitfalls myself. When I get in those downfall times, I know I just need to, well, you said it, Michael, choose to do their part.
Yeah, exactly.
That goes back to Exodus, where God's asking us, if we don't want to be labeled disease, He says this in Exodus 15:22 or 25, if you will work with me, God's asking, then I'll show you that you won't have to have disease. If you follow my ways, you won't get ill and you can walk through the fire and not be burned. And so teaching people that to just be faithful, and I love it when I get around people like Michael and others that they've just got it about the health thing. They know they need to drink their water. They know they need to take their supplements. They need to support their organs, especially more through those times of pain and suffering and inflammation, so that the body will let them get through it. We need this temple. We need to maintain it so it'll take us through that trauma. And that is such a key area. When in burnout, don't cut back. You probably need more support. And we know that very well. We've been through that time. I remember when I went through COVID and the stress of it it just wiped my body out. I lost 4 pounds of muscle in a month's time. And in coming back, the protocols that I needed to get my body back in condition were quite extensive. And so about a month after post sickness, I'd got all my muscle back. I was at the top of my game, mentally, emotionally, physically. So I decided, well, I'm really doing well here. I think I'll cut back on the amount of vitamin C that I take, or the amount of cell energy that I was taking. And instantly, the very first day, when I didn't take my midday dose of vitamin C to fuel my adrenals, to fuel my immune system, my body about 3 or 4 o'clock told me it didn't like it. It said, You
Mm.
can't do this. My body now, as we get older and we go through more traumas, it needs this support.
Mhm.
Just like I know I need the mental, emotional support when I go through trials, and I apply a lot of the principles that I've learned from Michael in the mental, emotional areas, and it works.
Yeah.
But you just got to work it. You got to do your part, as you said.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and folks, what Steve has been, helping people nutritionally with these principles for 30 years, and he's kind of distilled down these principles into a document called the 7 Proven Steps to make a build a healthier life for you and your family. And you can download that for free on prospernutrition.com. And he goes into the, food, the need for water and hydration, exercise, stress management, sleep, supplementation, and faith and family. So these 7 areas are areas that we've seen are things that we can work on, things that we can do something about, and they help just about everyone that we've worked with. When they start working in these areas, their health improves. And so that's something that you can download for free on prospernutrition.com, the 7 Proven Steps guidebook. And you can start working on these areas that, like they mentioned, that you have the ability to improve your health and, get yourself in order, get yourself re-energized, have more strength to handle the stresses in your environment. So
I would add, though, Jason,
Yeah.
if you wouldn't mind, I would add that when it comes to mental, emotional health from a physiological perspective, and when I mentioned burnout and how the nutrient levels really do seem to deplete, there are tests that they can evaluate their neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters are formed from certain amino acid proteins, and they use certain vitamins and minerals and cofactors to break down from food into their components. And you can measure that with a simple urine test. You need to know your neurotransmitters, whether you're getting adequate support in the excitatory versus the inhibitory neurotransmitters. And we've talked about this multiple times, and we'll continue to talk about it. Once you get that test done, as I have, and observed how much, for example, tryptophan is so low in my body, and the pathways that tryptophan is used to make melatonin, to make serotonin, to keep you calm, to also make niacin. It's remarkable in the things that they've learned about what tryptophan does as amino acid and other biochemical pathways. So really encourage people to get that test done, know their amino acid needs, their neurotransmitter weaknesses and strengths, and how they can support that and do their part.
It's good. Thank you. Yeah. So at Nutrition and Health Center, if you go to nutritionandhealthcenter.com, you can learn more about that neurotransmitter testing, and find out how you can have an appointment at the Nutrition and Health Center to do that. So people are challenged with this toxic environment. They need to focus on getting themselves strong. So let's say they're in. They're like, I'm in. I understand this. I get it. I'm gonna make myself strong. I need to really focus on that. And so they're starting that process. What's the kind of the way that they can expect things to progress? Like what you've seen, Michael, like when they start that process of really working on themselves, what can they expect as they start?
Well, let me just say, first of all, before that too, just like people are coming to see you, with the physical, I would highly recommend that if you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like you're going through a difficult time, and you're dealing with anxious moments or distressful times or trauma, seek out a faith-based therapist, counselor. And whether you look to your church and see if they have a list, referrals they can give you, or you can look online. I mean, I highly recommend the faith-based because of the integration of Christianity and also psychology. So, and again, sitting down with somebody who's been trained and know what they're talking about, and be able to process. Because here's what happens too in this arena of counseling: that if that particular therapist doesn't feel adequate enough, he or she then has the responsibility to refer to somebody that they may know can help you. Because the key here is the help for the client. We want to provide the needs that they have. So when you get them into that place of where they see that they want to pursue this, they sit down and you start processing with it, you're starting to see some of these layers. Like, for example, one of the therapeutic modalities I use is called EMDR, dealing with trauma. And just to see people who are traumatized by fear and to be able to process that negative cognition or that belief and then see it trickle into a perspective of looking through different lenses and validating how they can pursue that. And even when they're triggered, to have the resources in place, there starts the healing process. It starts, they're seeing, as you sit with them and you process the plan, the goals that they're after. But I tell my clients, we're doing this together. I'm gonna process with you. I'm gonna listen where you are, and I'm gonna give you what I'm sensing. But then I want you to, because you're doing the work. My job is to ask you the right questions and work with you and process and give you some direction. But again, through the opportunity that you do it, not just when we're together, but you're outside in the midst of your world. And when they come back, we process, okay, what was that like? What happened? And if they need to tweak it or change it, we go there. So it's just really been amazing to see, again, the healing process where people have chosen to do the work and they see the validity of it. It's just not, quote, another meeting. Because, there is a cost, just not with time, but financial cost as well. So you want to get your return for your investment, because that's really what you're doing. You're investing into your mental and emotional well-being, and you want to get unstuck. You want to have peace at night. You want to rest. And when those triggers come, challenges come, thoughts come, they're not going to hijack you like they have in the past. They're not going to put you in an uncertain and instability where you just feel insecure. Security is huge. For people to have that place of security and they're confident no matter what's going on around their world, that they can have it within themselves and process it even with the relationships they have. So, yeah, we've just seen a lot of, and we're still seeing it. We're still, and there's times people get stuck and they need a little bit more time. So we just keep, I like to say, beating on the door, meeting them where they are, loving them where they are, praying for them. And it's just really been a beautiful experience. Now, some people don't want it. They say, well, I'm not sure I can do it. Okay, that's fine. When you're ready, we're here. We're not going to pressure them. We're never putting them in a situation that, well, you better do this or else, you're going to really be in deep weeds. No. You just really want to encourage them. And that's why you want to have that relational piece with that therapist. You can go to him or her and they truly care about who you are and they want to help you. Not just because of their job, they feel a real calling to help you. I know that's where I am. And I love being with people and seeing where people are. And by the way, it blesses me to know, to seeing how God orchestrated those divine appointments and to be able, and it grabs me to say, okay, Michael, how you doing? So, and self-care is huge for us. I've been talking to Steve about that with him and Amy. I'll say the same to you, Jason. All right, any role that we're givers and giving out the encouragement, we need that self-care. We need to get strong. We get healthier with that too. So I could talk for days. And that's why I'm here this weekend. I'm building up my strength physically. So anyway,
good.
Hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and what if someone's going to look for the type of professional that you're talking about? What would they look for when they're?
Well, like I'm saying, you can go online if they have a website, look at what kind of care they offer. I would, if you do, call them or email them and ask them, do they offer the integrated approach of Christianity and psychology? I would find out whatever area that you think you're dealing with, if it is anxiety or maybe depression, or it could be, again, a loss with a grief. Grief is huge right now. It's huge. People are losing not just loved ones, but they're losing relationships. I'm with a client right now that is really struggling with a lost relationship, and it's really traumatized her. So that happens in those scenarios. So you may look at what kind of therapy they offer, individual, whether it be couples, adults. Even I can tell you right now, with the social media, we have at least 3 or 4 of our therapists on the team or counselors that see a lot of high school, middle school kids. Oh my goodness, the needs is bubbling off. It's unreal, so to be able to help that. So you try to find, again, or even you talk to somebody. Would you recommend somebody, even if they go to their, again, the church, I think is a good place to start, and be able to process that. Or if they know somebody who's gotten help, they know somebody who's gone through it, they can ask that. And so. Yeah.
So is it like a licensed professional counselor?
Yes,
Is
yes.
that
Highly
okay?
recommend it. Or another one is called so you know the perspective here. A psychiatrist is a medical doctor.
Mhm.
Psychiatrists will come and evaluate and diagnose you, and in most cases they'll prescribe a medicine to be able to calm you where you are. Another one is the nurse practitioner. She or he has that same opportunity.
Mhm.
A psychologist is a counselor as well, but the psychologist does more assessments. They do more testing, which is good. It can be helpful too. But I believe the ones that are in the nitty-gritty are what's called a licensed professional counselor, LPC, or a marriage and family therapist, that's an MFT. Those are right in those are the ones I would look for. And not to take away from the psychologists, they're great, but a psychiatrist usually doesn't do therapy. See, I'm of the biased opinion, if you're on any kind of medication, you still need therapy. You need to sit down and talk to somebody through it because you got to process it in a healthy way, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are the two areas, LPC
Okay.
and IFT. Yeah.
And then obviously, as you were sharing, you were like, try to find someone who is faith-based in the way that they do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
and
just
even
think it's
connected with a church, ideally as
well,
well.
some
Yeah.
churches have counseling like we do. Now, some
Right.
don't, but like we did, most churches, hopefully, because they recognize, so you'll know, they may have pastoral counselors, which we've had for years at our place. But we also recognize we don't have the margin, we don't have the tools, we don't have the training to get into some of these mental challenges people are dealing with, emotional challenges. So we built a referral list. And hopefully most churches have that. That what we did is we went to all of our campus communities and we hunted them down. We looked for them and said, hey, what do you offer? We like to put you on our list so we can refer not only here's a big thing, not only our people, but our staff. We have a big deal with it. We do we offer help for our staff too. So yeah, look in there first. And I mean, you can look online. You can look
Right.
at another tool, what's called Psychology Today, where they have a list of therapists, times, and they'll tell you their quote religious experience. But I think the church would be the first place to start. That's what I would recommend.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah. Folks, I think that that's something that, is something we should take seriously. Michael's been doing it a while and he's seen a lot of people over the years. And, as he also understands the importance of incorporating, nutrition and lifestyle changes for our physical body, but he sees the value as well of incorporating this. So take the step.
You don't know this, but in South Carolina, I have referred some of my clients to you all.
Okay.
I said, hey, this has helped me because if you're dealing with a physical need, if they come up, I say this may be something you want to investigate. I'll give me a website because I believe in the total opportunity with that. It's so important. And let me say one other thing too. I don't drink Kool-Aid because it's not good for you. I drink water. I drink the water. I meet with a therapist for me, a counselor for me. I wouldn't do that early on in ministry. I can fix myself. And most men, not that we're so prideful, but I thought I could do it. I can't. And when I meet with my guy, boy, he has really helped me. So I believe in it, not just because I do it, but because of how it has helped me and really healed me some things in the past. I could testify so much about that. But anyway.
Good. That's good. So Steve, we've had people come into the office who were recommended by a counselor. And, you've had people that have come to see you that maybe you've recommended to see somebody because of, challenges they're dealing with. So how would you encourage someone if they're at a point they're like, I don't know up from down. My body is in shambles. My mental, emotional health is off. What would you say? Because some of our people that are watching this video are clients. Some of them are not, but they're probably in a similar boat where they're like, all these areas of my life are a wreck. Where do I get started? So what would be your encouragement?
For the seeing everything from a global perspective, download the 7 Proven Steps, read all of that and read it regularly. You've got scriptures that validate these scientific truths that we know that bring life, and you'll immediately, out of those 7 truths, you'll find 1 or 2 areas where you're really, you can say to yourself, I just don't set a good example in these areas, and I want to make change in these areas. So start with those areas. It just a person, and Dr. Batman wrote a good book on Your Body's Many Cries for Water. It's available in a PDF. It's more like a booklet. And literally linking all diseases to water intake. So if that's the first area that you're not doing well with, and most people aren't aware of that, but some may know, they just really need to hydrate up. Water is a source of life for all the cells of the body. It removes waste. It helps increase vitality. It helps improve skin tone. They literally link every disease just about known to man to dehydration. Dehydration is a dangerous place to be. And that's why it's the first thing on our list of the 7 proven things that we know improve health. So starting there, and then get that neurotransmitter test done, find out from a physiological perspective, how is your diet influencing your nervous system? And you can get some help there. Then, of course, finding a good licensed counselor, as Michael said, is so key. We're glad we have Michael to lean on and get support from. He's taught us so much. And yet we still take classes. Amy and I right now at 42 years of marriage, we're in a marriage class at our church. It's just an amazing class, but it's helped us to learn how to reconnect better, communicate better, commit to one another together. And again, we have to choose to do our part to make the success in marriage. It's all the work that you want to put in. We are here to work, beyond the grave. Well, we'll see what kind of work God has for us. But Jesus even said that about his work here when he worked on the Sabbath. And he said, I'm working as my Father is working, and there's a work to be done. So while I'm here, I'm going to do work and serve him in the greatest capacity that I have, while being, of course, cognizant of the need for rest, the need to refresh, the need to draw back and spend time with him and heal as well. So,
so it seems like 2 of the 7 proven steps, stress management and faith and family, obviously speak to the need to go to someone and get counsel and get help and feedback.
Definitely.
And then on the supplement side, Steve, what are some, so you mentioned tryptophan for neurotransmitters. What are some other Prosper formulas that someone can help with getting themselves back to
we've got
level of
quite a
health?
neurological supportive line, Jason. Your foundational support, the most active neurotransmitter, is your cell energy for the choline to develop the acetylcholine, which is a very active neurotransmitter. You just remember things better. All nerves are firing better when acetylcholine is activated better. The second then that has the tryptophan in it with the pyridoxal 5, is it the PAC that's in there? It's either PAC or P5P. It's special forms of B6 that help to convert that tryptophan to serotonin, so you just handle stressful situations better when you have adequate serotonin available. And that's, most drugs are designed to manipulate serotonin at the nerve cell, when really all we need to do is take more tryptophan in our diet to drive that serotonin levels where they're supposed to be, so we can make melatonin. Yeah, exactly. The L-tryptophan with the pyridoxal 5-phosphate. That is the active form of B6 that helps to convert in the nervous system. They call it the nerve vitamin, B6. So important. But pyridoxine that you'll see in synthetic forms, not as effective for this conversion. That's why we use this form. Riboflavin also involved. Also, Jason, show them the muscle power. We could call it the brain muscle, because muscle power has glutamine in it, and glutamine drives the GABA and the glutamate pathways. And PAC in there is a special form of B6 that helps prevent the glutamate from building up, and it recycles it so that the body can continue to make enough GABA. Glutamine drives glutamate to excite, but it also drives the GABA, which has a calming effect. So here's another very critical, important nutrient. Glutamine is in very low levels in most people because the muscle repair is lacking and getting enough of this amino acid. I studied 30 years ago extensively and saw the many benefits for gut healing, for muscle regeneration, for strength and stamina, but the nervous system relies heavily on it. And then of course the what did I say, acetylcholine, we got the tryptophan pathway for serotonin, the GABA support, and then the stress and energy formula is helping the cortisol pathway so that the what's called the catecholamines, your epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopamine, and there's another one in there. They all drive that pathway in stress response and stress handling. Epinephrine is adrenaline, and your adrenal glands are heavily involved in stress response. So this is an adaptogen formula designed to help that pathway and get that to work. Now, there's one other, was the brain detox, was the one I was thinking of, Jason. And that's the last of our, and I take all of these. The brain bundle has a lot in it, but the brain detox, if you pull up that ingredients list, you'll see methionine is in there and glycine. So glycine has a unique impact on neurotransmission as well. And then the methionine is an amino acid that drives that detox pathway to keep toxins from building up in the brain and therefore give you better sleep and good mental clarity. So what does our brain bundle have in it, Jason? I think a lot of those, of course, fish oil. Fish oil just helps at the cell membrane. You see that in there, the pure omega-3. Magnesium helps drive energy into the cell energy with the acetylcholine, brain detox. And then, of course, the B12 helps in the methylation department so that the body's able to convert and communicate well with that and prevents the buildup of homocysteine in the body. But really, if you made brain bundle extraordinaire, you would have the stress and energy, you would have the sleep and calm formula, and you'd have the brain detox is on there. Yeah, that's about the core nutrient supportive systems. And if you go on our website, nutritionhealthcenter.com, and look under the assessments, you look at that neurotransmitter test, look at the major pathways of the neurotransmitter that the body uses, and you'll see the amino acids that are on there, and you'll see that those are what are in our product line to support the nervous system, the immune system, the digestive system. All systems are a go with how we support them through Prosper Nutrition, and the Nutrition Health Center is our access, obviously, to get the testing you need to identify all of your body's needs, functional needs. We're not diagnosing disease. We're looking for where there's a lack and a need and filling that need. And we're looking where there's problems and toxicities and trying to get rid of those. So it's a simple concept of light and darkness. We're bringing in more light and expelling the darkness.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. And folks, those supplements that Steve was talking about at prospernutrition.com, you can get those today at 10% off if you use the coupon code 92724SHOW. It's today's date. Now, if you're watching this later, you can still use this coupon code. It's good for one purchase discount. So if you can get all the supplements, you can get 5 of them, 2 of them, but just use that coupon code at checkout and get 10% off your order. It's 92724SHOW. You get 10% off your next order. Folks, I think that some of this information, you should probably go back and watch the video again, be encouraged, and take action. You want to do something now to help yourself get started, whether that's just take some time right now and pray and ask God for what you should do, for direction on what you should do, or if it's calling up a local licensed professional counselor or downloading the 7 Proven Steps and reading that. Take action today in some way that you feel that you can, and that will help you at least get started along this process of handling this toxic environment that we're dealing with and getting yourself strengthened. That's why we're here. We want you to prosper and be in health. And Michael, do you have any last words on this that you'd like to share with the folks?
I've got to tell you just a real quick true story about when you're making healthy decisions. She was 14 years old and living in California, and she got pregnant. She made an unhealthy decision there, but decided to have the baby. It was a little boy. And the second big decision was she decided to put him up for adoption because she realized she couldn't be his mother. And this Presbyterian minister, his wife, adopted him. He grew up in their home and went on to play high school football and college football. He played at Fresno City College and was recruited by the University of North Carolina. Strong man of God, became a Christian, made an impact on his teammates, and then went into the coaching ranks on the college level. And then he was at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes camp, and he met a guy by the name of Tony Dungy, who had to be the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Coach Dungy hired him as his quarterback coach. And from there, they went up to Indianapolis, which I'm wearing a shirt right now because Clyde gave it to me because when he was with the Colts. And can you imagine? He had the privilege of being a quarterback coach for a guy by the name of Peyton Manning. In fact, he even led Peyton Manning to the Lord. And he also coached a guy by the name of Andrew Luck. Well, from there, he went to Miami, and then he went on to Tampa Bay. And you can imagine being a quarterback coach, you may know or may not know this, he coached a guy by the name of Tom Brady. And his 5-year-old grandson, Coach Clyde, said, "Hey, Grandpa, what are you doing coaching the enemy?" Because when Brady was with New England, of course, the Colts and Peyton, they were all big rivals. The point I'm making to all this is Coach Clyde Christensen came to life because one person made a decision in a healthy way.
Mm.
And he has impacted hundreds of people, even to this day. He's now retired from the NFL. He's coaching at the University of North Carolina with quarterbacks there. Clyde loves the Lord. And I'll just tell you right now, no matter how stuck you may be, no matter what you're going through, like I said earlier, there's always hope. And to see a life come alive like that, are you kidding me? How about that for a career?
Mm-hmm.
Manning, Luck, and Brady. Oh my goodness. What a blessing. Thanks for listening today. It's been a joy to be with you. And I pray you'll continue to grow mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and relationally as God will lead you down your path. In Jesus' name.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. That was awesome.
Thanks, Steve, for your input. Do you have some last words for us?
No, this is closing prayer. Father, we just thank you for this time. We thank you for the words of life from Michael and what you always bring us, abundant life.
Mm.
And those that are searching, Lord, may they continue to do what you said in Luke, I believe it was, chapter 7. Ask and it shall be given. Seek and you'll find. Knock and the door will be open. Just keep asking, seeking. You'll find. The door is going to be open. God will show you the way, and he'll open that door in the right time. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank y'all.
Thank
Join
you.
us next week, 1:30 Central Standard Time here on the Prosper Nutrition Show every Friday, 1:30 Central Standard. And we're continuing to bring you information to help you prosper and be in health. So y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Take care.